been over a year since we've had our ILVE range, and I figured it was high time for me to do a full detailed review. So many of you have been asking for this. So I'm going to share all about it. I'm going to talk about the exact model that we have, some problems that we've encountered, and all the features of this particular range. And then I'll just sum it up at the end for a honest review of what I feel about this piece. It was a huge investment piece. A range is always a big decision for your home. So I want to share with you all the information that I can. If this is something that you are interested in or a product that you have been looking into, I hope this video is helpful for you. Let me first offer a quick disclaimer. Because I offered to do this video and content, ILVE did give me a discount on the product. I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. However, I'm always honest about my reviews and just try to give you as much information as I can to make this helpful for you. So let's talk about the exact ILVE range model that I got, because there's some unique features in the specific one that we have in our home, and there's a lot of options on the ILVE website. So I want to make sure you know that as I'm talking about it, these are the certain features that we have on our range. So the exact model that we got is the ILVE Nostalgie. I think that's how you say it. The Nostalgie II. And we got the 60-inch wide one. So I think that is the biggest oven range that they offer. And that's because we had a very specific spot in our house that we needed to fill. We placed it inside this historic brick that was original to the home. And so the 60-inch actually fit perfect. Maybe even a little too tight, but we managed to get it in there. And we were so excited on the day that it came to unbox it and get it in place. We have the dual fuel range. It runs by liquid propane. So that's what we are using in the house. The ovens themselves run by electricity. And we opted to get the triple glass door fronts. They also have like solid if that's more of the aesthetics that you want. So I love that they have those options. And we got it in the blue-gray color. It is beautiful. And the little accents and hardware, we selected the brass options. And I want to make sure that you know that down in the description, I will link the exact model. I will also link you out to a blog post that we have compiled with all this information. If you just want to read through it and get to the places that you want to learn about, most importantly, that will be a better place for you to do that. So definitely check the description for those links. The first thing I want to talk about is the looks and aesthetics of this range. I personally think ILVE makes the most stunning products. Their ranges are so beautiful. I love that they have so many color options, and I was especially excited when they had this blue-gray color. It just fits in perfect with our kitchen. I was kind of going for a more primitive cottage type style in our home, and we have blue cabinets all around the kitchen, and it really coordinates well with the red in the brick. And so choosing a blue-gray oven could not have been more perfect for our kitchen, but I also think like their white range would have looked pretty. So I'm just grateful that they have a lot of options. So definitely check those out. And I think you'll find that ILVE offers the perfect color that will work great for your kitchen. Because we picked one of the more fancy models, I should say, it did take a while to get here. It came from Italy, and I believe was like assembled upon purchase. It's one of their more specialty items, but I do know that you can, if you're in the US anyway, you can research the ILVE models, and if they're one of their more standard models, it's probably way quicker to get to you and probably available in the US. So that's something to keep in mind as you're shopping their products. So besides the looks and what a stunner it is in our kitchen, it's such a beautiful focal point. And it's always the thing people ask me about when they tour through my home. They just kind of stop at the oven range and have to ask me about it. So that's fun that it is such an important piece in the design aesthetics of our kitchen. However, let's talk about the function for a little bit. Like I mentioned, we've been using this piece for over a year now in our home. And so I've gotten very familiar with it and have used it heavily. It's actually funny, when we needed a serviceman to come and look at it, he asked me if we actually cook and use this oven, and I thought, why wouldn't we? But his comment was that in a lot of the big fancy homes that he's done and they have these ovens, usually it's just a showcase piece. The people don't actually cook. I don't know what they do. Do they eat out all the time? I don't know. But I assured him that it is a workhorse in our house, and if he couldn't tell by how dirty it was, I don't know what would give that away. But we use this thing every day without fail, multiple times a day, and it has functioned very well for us. I have a family of 6 to feed, and we cook from scratch, so I've made just about everything that I can think of on this range and have had great results. So that's a little overview of the function. Let's move on to talking about the burners or the cooktop. Now you can see here, ours is very unique because it has this French top feature. That's not typically something you would find in an oven range, but this is a really neat feature, and it's been fun to explore how to use that. And I will go into more detail, even like throw in some footage here of me using it and ideas how you can use it. But when we're talking about the burners, there's so many specifics that you can get into. So if you want to know things like cubic feet, BTU output, and all that technical stuff, definitely look at the listing descriptions for the ILVE oven range that you're looking at. I can also say the manual that they send is very, very detailed. But I'm an everyday home chef. I don't really concern myself with those specifications. I just want to know how it functions for my everyday use. And so that's kind of the direction that I'll go for this review. Now, we've never had a 60-inch range before, and so I worried that I just wouldn't use a lot of the features. But I find even if I'm not using the burners that are on the top, there's so much surface space with the griddle and the French top for me to put the dishes to the side, or the food that I'm prepping or keeping warm. There's just a lot of options with this huge surface to work on, so I really like that aspect of it. This 60-inch has 7 sealed burner units on the top, and they all have, I think, like varying BTU outlets, which in my mind just means that some of them get hotter faster. Some of them might be better for like a simmering. Some of them might help me bring like a stock pot of liquid up to boil faster. So that's just something I've had to learn and experiment as I've been getting to know this product. But I really do love that there are so many options. It's just a really well thought out product that gives the home chef a lot of options. I've also found it's a really easy range top to clean. The sealed burners do such a good job at not letting anything get stuck on there too hard. They're easy to wipe down and clean. They're easy to lift up and to quickly wipe under them. Like I said, we cook a lot. It gets dirty fast, and it can just be like a weekly chore that I'm just picking them up, wiping them down, or if there's a spill, it's easy to get that clean again. I love that the ILVE range has a griddle top. This was one of the things I really, really wanted, because I wanted to be able to maybe get rid of or not use like a plug-in electric griddle as much. So it's nice that it's on the oven. It's great for pancakes, grilled cheese. We like to do like Mongolian style grill tops with like meats and vegetables. So that's a really fun feature. I'd say the challenge is that griddle top is so heavy. It is some thick still. And I find it's a little difficult to bring it to the oven to wash every time. So if like we're doing pancakes, I let it cool down and then get some soapy water and a rag and clean it right there at the oven, which works great. For more messy dishes, I just, push up my sleeves and move it to the sink and give it a good clean. I've also found that Barkeeper's Friend is a great product to get the surface clean. So some things I'm learning about the griddle, but I really, really love that feature. You'll see here on this oven range, there's this more oval, long cooktop. I have to be honest with you, I've never used it. I don't have like a pot that's shaped like that. I should maybe think about getting one, because I could see it coming in handy, especially for like a big pot of soup that you just want to let simmer there, be out of the way. But I just don't have a pot in that shape. I can imagine like they have those warmer things that maybe those would work great there, but with the French top and its capabilities to just keep things warm, I don't know. I just haven't used that. I'm not saying that it wouldn't come in handy, but I really do need to get a certain pot that's shaped in that oval shape, then I think it would make more sense. But I do love the idea that the burner is oval, so I feel like if you had the right item that's shaped like that, it would be like more of an even distribution of heat. So great feature, I just haven't used it. Okay, let's get on to the fun one. Let's talk more about this French top. So what is it? There is just this really heavy duty cast iron flat plate that rests here. And they call it a French top, I believe, because using a French top is more of a French style of cooking. And so it's something I'm getting used to. I've never had this kind of feature in my home, so it's been fun to play with it. I like to think of it like the old-fashioned ovens. I don't know if that's what it was inspired by, but you can imagine those old-fashioned ovens that only had, you know, like an actual fire burning, so that where that centralized spot was under a fire, that would get really, really hot. But then the cooks could also place dishes around the oven to keep them warm or to proof bread. And so it's a lot like that. These cast iron rings on this plate kind of distribute the heat, because cast iron does a really good job at that. And so you got the centralized heat right in the middle of these rings, and that's where it's going to get the hottest depending on what setting you put it at. And then the heat kind of radiates throughout that plate. So you can cook something really hot in the center and then move it to the outskirts of this plate to keep it warm or keep it at a low simmer. Again, just depending on how hot you put it. And what's really nice about it is actually, I thought it was a malfunction at first, but then when we had the serviceman over and talked to ILVE, this is how it actually functions. The French top self-regulates its temperature. So if I put it at like mid-temperature, the flame is actually going to turn on and off in order to keep it at that temperature. So that's really nice, so that you just don't have to worry about moving it up or down. You just move your pots or plates around according to how warm you want it. So really fun to play with. Some dishes that I've found, this comes really in handy, is like when I make a spaghetti dinner. There's a lot of things that like cook at different times or that I need to just keep warm. For example, like the sauce, if I'm putting on one of the traditional burners, the spaghetti sauce will get hot and bubble and splash. So instead of doing that, I can put it on the outskirts of this French top and just keep it warm. And it's the right temperature and ready for when we're ready to serve it. I can boil the pasta and then maybe put it on there, toss the pasta with some olive oil and just keep it warm on that plate until the rest of the meal comes together. Same with the meat, or if I'm serving a vegetable with it. So it's just really handy. You can think of it as a warming plate. You can think of it as a really slow, gentle simmer. Another thing that's really good is if you're like making candies or melting chocolate. A lot of times on a traditional burner, the chocolate will get too hot and burn really quickly. So if you just like do chocolate dipped strawberries or something and you just keep that chocolate warm, sitting on the French top, it works great that way. Really, any kind of sauce that you're making that you just want to keep warm and not boil, that works great. But I will say, if you turn this all the way up to a 12, it gets pretty hot in the middle. But again, you get to play with the temperatures by moving your things around. But also when it's not in use, it's just a really great spot for me to set stuff down. If I'm making like say bagels or something and I have to slowly boil them and then put them on a pan to bake, it's just nice to have that extra flat surface where I can set stuff. So 10 out of 10, love the French top feature. I forget to use it because I'm just not that used to having such an awesome feature, but it's really great, and the more I use it, the more I love it. Okay, let's talk about the ovens. I love having a double oven. It's one of those like, I just feel spoiled having it, if you know what I mean. There's so many times, I mean, with company, a double oven comes in handy so much. I honestly don't know how I lived without a double oven before, because they are both constantly in use. Even if I'm just cooking for my family, separate dishes needed to be cooked at separate times, or I have like sourdough going and I need to cook dinner as well. It's just so nice to have the double oven. Even if you find a double oven that one's just smaller, you'll be surprised how handy it comes in for like bread, small muffin pans, and then you have the bigger one. But with this 60-inch, you can imagine both of them are pretty good size. I can easily get like a full cookie sheet in the big one with room to spare, and then my half-size sheet cookie sheets slide in great in that other one with room to spare. So I just feel really spoiled to have both the ovens and love it. I love that each oven has 2 racks. It's got a storage drawer under the oven, and there are just so many modes in which you can choose to cook your food in these ovens. Like so many that I forget they're all there, and I should probably take some time to learn what each one of them does best. I would probably cook my meats better and breads better, but there's just so many great modes. And there's even a like rotisserie chicken feature. So when you get the manual, you can dig into those and play around with them. I will say like my favorite feature about these ovens is there's a quick preheat mode that gets your oven to temperature really fast. And then you can, well, you have to make sure you remember to turn it off of the preheat mode. Ask me how I know. Otherwise your food will cook way too fast. But it's so nice, especially when I'm making sourdough bread. It's good to preheat the Dutch oven in the oven before you put the bread in. And in our other home, I was finding that I had to leave it in there for like 45 minutes to an hour to get the Dutch oven hot enough. This one, I can set it in there with the quick preheat mode, and within 10-15 minutes, it's all piping hot and I can get my bread in there a lot quicker. So that is like my favorite feature, and it just makes cooking so much faster. Now, this is where I want to pause and talk about some of the problems that we did encounter with the ILVE range when we first got it. And it's actually a problem I did read others were having, but I was so happy to know that it was an easily solvable problem, and ILVE was so great at giving me the customer service that I needed to get it up and running and running correctly. So what we were having a problem with is the ovens were not getting up to temperature after we first initially installed it. So for example, like I would set the big oven to 350 and it just wasn't cooking my food. And so we finally got little temperature gauges to put inside, which I highly recommend for any oven. It's super nice to know like when it's preheated to the right temp, or just to peek in there and see if it's at the temperature you need it. But putting those temperature gauges in there showed us that even if we were at 350, it was only getting up to like 200. It was more of a problem on the big oven than the small one, but that was a little bit frustrating for me. So I reached out to ILVE, and they were so amazing to get me the help I needed quickly. Now ILVE does run out of Italy, but still they actually did all the work. They were able to contact someone in my area, in my small town, country living. They found someone and sent them my way. They covered the cost because of the warranty. So the service personnel just came right out, worked on it, communicated with ILVE to see if we needed any parts or anything. So that was awesome. I just felt like they were really invested in making sure that my range was working like it should. The problem ended up being simply that the ovens weren't calibrated correctly. So just the knob wasn't telling the oven the right temperature. It was a pretty quick fix once the serviceman knew what was going on, and it's been working great ever since. So I don't know if that like happened in shipping. I don't know if they don't get it calibrated correctly for like my altitude. I don't know how that all works, but that was the problem, and it was easily fixable, and I had some great service to help me through it. So that was our only problem and our experience with it, which I'm quite happy with. With all that said, let me just summarize my thoughts and experience with this ILVE range and get you going on your way. So overall, I think this range was a huge investment for us, but it was also like 100% worth it. I feel like this is a piece that's built to last and will hopefully last for as long as we're in this home. I don't know, but I feel confident that it will serve me for many, many years to come. It's beautiful. It's just a wonderful focal point for our kitchen, as I've mentioned. And it's not just a showcase piece. It is something that you can use and abuse and just daily make it your sous chef that's helping you in the kitchen and helping you create this delicious food for you or your family. I love every little detail, every little function. I would say the only thing that I really think is that it's probably a little overkill for me. There are so many features that I don't even use. So for the typical home chef, it may go above and beyond your expectations, but maybe I just need to play around more, get a little more creative in my kitchen, use the features and get to know them better. But it just does feel like a little more than I even need, but that's probably a good problem to have. The calibration issue was a little frustrating, but it got remedied quickly, so that all in all was a great experience. I love it. Everyone that comes into my home loves it. It's a great piece, and I just really couldn't say enough good about it. So I hope that review was helpful. I hope if you're in the market for ILVE range, this gives you some things to think about so that you can determine maybe what model or what features you would really love to have in your kitchen. 10 out of 10 for the customer service at ILVE. Super happy with them and how they walked me through that whole process. If I didn't address something and you still have some lingering questions after watching this review, please drop them in the comments and I'll try to get there and answer them quickly for you so that you have the answers that you need. And also check out that blog post, the link to the range in the description. And I would love to hear about what oven you have and what features in a range that you just couldn't live without. So let's chat in the comments. Huge thanks to ILVE for their support in getting me this product and for being a sponsor for this video and for giving me a discount on this product so that I could share it with you. Thanks for watching. I'll be back very soon to share more inspiration for the keeper of the home.